Thank you very much. And we are going to have a lot of fun today. And what I want to cover with you, the difference between the physical world that everyone lives in it to the data world, kind of the spiritual world of the future, which is the data, to the physical world that we are living in. Here is a chart that really prepared almost 10 years ago in related to data accumulation. It shows that more information will be generated in the next 2 years than in the last 40,000 years combined. And what happened in data is that it's multiplied, and it's gone non-linear. And any mathematician knows that anything that's non-linear approaches infinity. So this poses huge challenge about how to take advantage of that. And humanity can take advantage of that for good, for really improve anything. But I want to get you a little bit of kind of view, at least my personal view, from the last 40 years. I started actually in the storage industry in 1975, and I'm doing it kind of from the driver head-mounted camera. So I want to just give you an example about the limitation of the physical world. And then later I will discuss why this limitation don't exist in the data, which I would call spiritual world in a way. The physical world over there have limitation. This is, for example, the advances that were being in cars. Okay. Look into cars 100 years ago and car now. No big difference. You have 4 wheels, you have 2 steering, you have to do all of it. So maybe better engine, maybe a little bit more comfort over there. But there is no advantage, as I show you, in data, where every couple of years you accumulate more data than the 40,000 years before that time, okay? But in information, this I call like the spiritual world, the data, there is no kind of law that decide or cause that every bit of data need to have certain height, certain width, or certain weight. Bit of data can be nothing, almost nothing. So the data that was in writing like 6,000 years ago on papyrus, or I have another nice picture that show it, that were like in obelisks over there. So this one is much less data than like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when the first Ramak, this was the first disk, it was 5 megabytes. This is the size of that. This is like 60 years ago over there. And you can see that information that used to be on the obelisks, on the huge one over there, million times of that can be 50 years ago, but it's going to be accelerated. All of this information is a small corner of what we use today in small disk, or even just on small disk on key. So it's very important to understand that the destiny of humanity is really lie on the data, on using data, on the fact that data is accumulated in exponential way, and there is no physical limitation. This is not happening in transportation, this is not happening in the air, this is not happening in the sea. It's happening only in data. Because data, again, there is no need for any physical characteristic for data over there. So one of the big challenges in data is matter of cost over there. Because for sure, the data, by definition, doesn't need to have any physical property, but you need to store it on something. So there is a lot of advantage about how you do it. Now, you need to deal with a problem of something that approach infinity. So the cost of storage, when you think in traditional way, is going down. And IT budget is also increasing because people want to take advantage of the data. But there is a real gap, a real budget shortfall between what you can do with the data, mainly for data analytics, to improve productivity, improve humanity, do a lot of other things, between the limitation of what people do in what I call like common wisdom. What people really do in the industry, they take a device that is fast and that is reliable, and they build solution around this device. But that is not closing this gap, the gap between what you can do with the data, what's available to users. For that, you need a lot of innovation. And the innovation is in the matter of taking something that is slow, that is less reliable, use a lot of patents, a lot of innovation to create solutions that really solve this problem. In 2010, called back from retirement. And the reason is that CIOs have a big complaint. The big complaint is that now people solve the problem with a device called flash, SSD. The flash has no moving part. It's reliable and it's faster than spinning drive. So this is what everyone working on. All of the solutions are kind of based on this technology over there. It's very good in relation to performance, but it's very bad in relation to cost, and also have some problem in related to reliability, because you need reliability much, much better than whatever in the market. So what we took what's called nearline SAS. Nearline SAS are kind of disk drive that spin very, very slow, that Amazon and Google and Facebook utilizing them for cold storage. Cold storage, it's data that you just store over there, you don't use much. Now, we were able to take the technology and create a system that is much better in matter not only cost, but also reliability and availability. And with a lot of innovation, you could create like taking sand in alchemy and making gold out of it. That we were able to create at the time. This is like, we want to get you a Porsche or Lamborghini, a very expensive car, at the cost of a Nissan or Kia or Fiat. So it's always brute force versus innovation. If you want to solve problem of something like the data that grow in non-linear way, you must use innovation. If you use brute force, you cannot win. The market works on one direction, the direction of performance. Performance is important because you accumulate data, you do data analytics, you want to run all kind of algorithm out of that. But performance alone is not good enough. You need performance, but you need also reliability, and you need the cost. Because if the cost will not be, you cannot be successful. Okay. Infinidat creates solution that really get you the best performance, reliability, and availability at the cost of the cold storage over there. So this is kind of great contribution to humanity that we are doing, and it's really because we realize the difference between the physical world to the data world, like physical and spiritual. And the digital world and what you can do with data, it's amazing. You can do in every area. If you use data, business use data, it increases productivity. It increases what you could do it. You could do in medicine, you can increase life expectancy. In any area over there, in production over there, or everything can be much better when you utilize data. So this is just, I will just give it in 20 seconds. This is a system that Infinidat has. It's where the utmost performance. You could do 1 million hours per second and 12 gigabytes per second. This is a lot, much better than any other system over there. This is just a sample list of customers. We are starting now in Mexico, but becoming very successful. By the way, I was really have a great surprise when I came over here about the level of the technology and people here in Mexico. You know, if you read a newspaper or you look into TV show, you think that this is third world country. But what I saw over there, that people are really have open mind, that people in Mexico City at least, or people that I visited over there, are really very smart, and they are following the technology, and this is very important, because the technology and the data can be equalizer. Can equalize what's happened in places like third world and so forth, because with data you can enhance everything. You can enhance productivity and everything that you do over there. So you can see insurance company, the major banks. We have people like, you know, like even here Telefonica, but Verint and Verizon and Sprint, they are big cellular company. But they don't only use their mission critical stuff on it. They're also collecting a lot of data over there. And they run all kind of information about it. And they have all kind of wisdom that they came out of it, even without knowing the beginning what they're looking for. The point is not selling you Infinidat. The point is that if you use innovation over there, and instead of brute force thinking over there, you have a winner. And you could do a lot. You could change the world with innovation. So many times, businesses think that they are too busy for thinking about new technology. They are like running and trying to tie their shoelaces over there. And when you have open mind and you take advantage of technology, you have a winner. Now, my advice to all of you is to look into the data. There are businesses, even small ones, that think, oh, we are doing the work as we did before, as my father did, as my grandfather did. It's worked very well. I can continue with that. And my son and grandson, we can go forever like that. The world is changing. And everyone that will not look into the data, and everyone that will not take advantage of this data, is doomed to fail.